Okay, great start to the week. I have just headbutted the lampshade. Everyone always says, you know, win Monday and you win the week. Weekend when I was younger of getting absolutely off my tits all weekend, forgetting and running away from work as much as I possibly could. I work even harder on making Monday what I classify as frictionless, right? So Sunday night, I get my food ready, overnight oats that you may have already seen. I get my coffee out, I get a glass of water out or a bottle of water out. I get my creatine and my other supplements ready. I get my laptop sat in the perfect position ready to get on with my work. Think of it like this. If you hate exams, would you go into that exam going, I'm not going to prepare for it though? What's the point in preparing for something that I absolutely hate? You've still got to do the exam, right? You've still got to face Mondays every single week. So you have a choice. You can prepare for it as best you possibly can and then just hope that it goes well. Or you can just keep walking in blind every single week and it just constantly punching you in the face. It's a repetitive process. Over 50 times a year you have to face a Monday. So I just turn around and say, prepare for it.
Breakfast number 2, 2 scrambled eggs, 1 slice of toast. Taking my pre-workouts, obviously caffeine or Nocco as always, and beta-alanine. I always have these pre-workouts. Very simple. This is how I set my week up, and this is what I classify as my first rotation schedule, right? My major focus at the moment, and this is really important if you're somebody who wants to set up your own program, what is the fundamental thing that you're trying to work on? For me, it's compound strength. I have back squats, I have deadlifts, I have front squats, and the only other thing I haven't put in there is overhead press as well, which is what I'm going to be doing today. And when I talk about rotations, it's because every couple of weeks I change which days are for which exercises. The Tuesday and Thursday and the Sunday steady run, which I did a 10K steady run yesterday, always pretty much stay the same. But Monday isn't always going to be back squats. On my second rotation, it might well be deadlifts. And the reason for that is, for me personally, I want to maintain intensity across all of the exercises and the workouts that I'm going to be doing. If I always do back squats on a Monday and I always do front squats on a Friday, guess which one is going to develop faster than the other one? That's right, it's always going to be the back squats. Front squats, I'm getting to the end of the week, getting a little bit lazy. So
add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what, add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what, add it up, told her if it's all me, everything is on.
Hey bud, hey buddy. Today's run, stroke walk, is basically just a fasted way of starting the day, going and meeting some cows and getting a couple of views in. Nothing hard, because actually I'm going back to some boxing conditioning this week for the first time in years. Today I'm going to be putting on some gloves, getting back in the ring and doing a good session, so you'll see some of that. But I talk about fasted stuff that I do 2 times a week. It's not fasted as in I'm doing fasted training because of fat loss reasons and it's more effective. It's for fat utilization as a primary energy source reason. So I did a load of testing with my coach Luke a long while ago, and essentially when your body's working at like what we call like low and slow state, it should utilize fat stores as an energy source to begin with, like a primary energy source. And then as we get into a higher need, a glycolytic state, we then switch and run off carbs, essentially. That's a really simple way of saying it. And I use these low and slow, steady stuff, fasted first thing in the morning, keeping my heart rate nice and steady to make sure and encourage my body to run off fat more effectively. It doesn't mean that I'm going to burn more fat over a long period of time. It's not more effective for fat loss. It all equals out over a period of time, but that's just where I do the fasted stuff. So I'm going to finish this really steady, simple run, get home and start my day. This is a spectacular way of starting the day. Get out in the nature, be safe, and just enjoy it. Breakfast, 4 scrambled eggs, 4 rounds of toast. It's one of those days where, nutrition
It's pretty simple. Once you've got absolutely everything nailed in terms of your numbers, it does come down to a lot of intuition. The fact is, I know that I've got a big day today. I'm going to be boxing later on. I ran, felt really achy, felt really hungry throughout that whole run, and I don't normally feel, there goes the toast, don't normally feel that hungry. So I was like, I need to get some calories and some carbs on. So that's what I'm going to do. Delivery. Oh, these are record-breaking trainers. The Nike Alpha Flies are like running on padded clouds. Also a little delivery, some protein bars, vegan protein, some more Career Pure, and then a clear isolate whey. There you go. I just had these delivered, which is some of my subs that I buy. A little snippet of lunch. We've got a wrap, got a load of chicken, kidney beans, some red pesto, and some homemade guacamole. Little protein bar, and then one of the clear watermelons. I have just been boxing. It was absolutely great, but I don't tend to take my big camera to a new environment the first time round. So I popped up to Hustle, had a session, one-to-one session with Bobby there, which was absolutely great. It was really nice to get the gloves back on. I'm absolutely beaten up. It's so nice to be humbled by something again, because it's been so long since I've done any boxing conditioning. So now, get this food in, and then we're gonna crack on with the rest of the day. Right, I got asked loads of times when I put up a Q&A bar about things you wanted to see in this video, about habits, routines, my habits and routines, how they work, how I implemented them. I think the most important and the most value I can offer here is implementation, right? Because what I do is irrelevant to you and your lifestyle. And I say that in the nicest possible way, because I really messed up with that. I was looking at different gurus, looking for a little bit of inspiration and everything like that. And I just was monkey see, monkey do. Suddenly started waking up at 4:30 for a week and sitting here for an hour going, what do I bloody do then? Because this is what they seem to be doing, right? You need to look at your life and establish what I call the pain points. And this exploratory phase will teach you more about yourself and your wants and needs and everything like that than you've probably ever had if you're in a position where you're like, this just isn't working for me. You know, when you just know the way that you're doing it isn't working for you and you don't necessarily know how to change it right now, but you just know that something's not right. When you just know something's not right, the key word there is something. You don't actually know what that is. There's going to be a specific area that's going to be pissing you off. So you have to go and explore, which is what I did. Sat down with myself, went for a couple of walks, listened to some really calming music just to relax my mind a little bit more so I could focus a little bit more on singular things. I'm a bit like that. I can't really focus too much if I just have pure silence, because I focus on the silence. And for me, I realized it was starting from the way that I was running my business. Don't like cruising. I don't like just doing enough. And for 2 or 3 years, I would say, you know, not that I want to speak too much for John, but we just cruised. Got into CrossFit, things were going well, money was coming in, do enough, have a coffee in the morning, a couple of chats about work, create the odd piece of content, piss off to the CrossFit box for 3 hours at a time and justify it as work. And it wasn't. It was hanging out, working out. And being somebody who has always been self-employed, or I've been employed once and I didn't really like it. I know I'm not someone who's built for that. You have to work your hardest when things are going well, especially if you're somebody who's a little bit anxious, right? There's nothing worse than not preparing for the downsides. When it comes to self-employed personal training, there are key points in the year where personal training inquiries dip, right? There's key points in your journey where they dip. You have to evolve and you have to constantly change. And if you're waiting for those moments to react, you're working already at an 11 or a 12 out of 10. And it's just a constant doing nothing, doing way too much. I don't know what to do with myself. And I was just functioning like that for so long. It's not how I run things. I like to be consistent. I like a consistent effort level. So once I established that, I thought, well, all these different pillars in your life can't be massaged at the same time. It's a case of, do I take time away from my friendship circles and the social, that kind of stuff? Do I take it away from my relationships? Do I take it away from my time with my daughter? The last two, not happening. I took it away from my friendship circles and social media, social time. I became a bit of a hermit for a little while. I'm still pretty much there, to be honest. I don't go to CrossFit box anymore unless it's a job or a real reason to do it. Don't really do that much CrossFit, so there's like a secondary reason there. I train at the home most of the time because I can turn the clock on, I've got 60 minutes and that's it, and it's done, and I haven't wasted any other time. So I decided to start getting up consistently at 5:45 in the morning. Biggest one for me, because I hate mornings, number one, and at the time I had no structure. I'd become a new father, I was just getting up when the little one woke up. If that was 8 o'clock, it was 8 o'clock. If it was 4 o'clock, okay, it was 4 o'clock, and it sucked. The consistency of doing that every single day through practice, Monday to Friday, made the world of difference. Genuinely did, because it then gave me that knock-on effect. I then started creating my lists of what I needed to get done that day. 5 things, don't care if I got all of them done plus 10 or literally just those 5. Worked perfectly for me. And then the other thing for me was the final one, which was so simple, but it was a way that started to end my day mentally. Have my wardrobe, and the top shelf always was well, the whole thing was a mess, but the top shelf specifically was terrible. And it used to annoy me because it was the last thing that I saw on every single night was something horrifically untidy, right? And it might not seem like a big deal to you, but to me it was huge. So I ripped the whole thing apart, chucked a load of clothes into charity, and then folded everything. And then every single night I take my clothes off that weren't sweaty or anything like that I'd just been chilling in, that go back in the wardrobe, and I fold them, put them back on, everything's folded, neat, tidy. There is nothing more satisfying than that at the end of the day, and all it is just a simple level of discipline. If you're in that point where you want to change, obviously I can help you as a coach. It's something that I work with all my clients on as well. But explore, find out what the something is, and then really explore that something. It's going to have layers. It's going to come down to a singular part of this whole process that pisses you off. Because you can say, like I could have said, oh, well, it's work. Okay, I'm going to quit my job. You know, because it wasn't, I love my job. I just didn't like the way that I was operating within that in that area. So you have to turn around and strip it down to the real pain points and work with the hardest possible thing that you can find that's causing the most friction right now. I have been writing a new TLM training plan, the TLM running plan, and off that I've been periodizing the first block, which is all about building up unilateral strength, working in that zone 2 endurance phase, basic phase, and building towards a solid 5K, or your first 5K if you've never run it before. I have not run a sub 20-minute 5K in, I would say, 10 years outside. On a treadmill, maybe a couple of times. It's a little bit easier on a treadmill. I have just run, the official time at 5K was a 19-minute, 20-second 5K. And I'm weighing in at 78 kilos. Last time I ran that fast, I must have been about 64, 65 kilos. I'm buzzing. I've obviously been doing a lot of running, testing for the plan, and just generally enjoying my running. And I had that set as a goal in the back of my head for this year, and I genuinely didn't think that was gonna happen yet. And I was halfway through a set of bench press and just went, I'm gonna go and run a sub 20. And it's just that moment just went boom, and I'm going in. And oh, did that hurt? Like, oh, that felt so good.
So Thursday is rest day or active recovery day. Normally I get up and do a slow run in the morning. Today I'd actually planned to go swimming at 6:30. But the little one didn't have a very good night last night. She's been a little bit unwell, then she's been feeling better, and apparently it transpired. We took her to nursery today. We thought she was all right. She just had a rough night's sleep, but she got a bit of a temperature, so we had to go and get her. So I ended up just getting an hour slot in the pool, and did a kilometre swim, a little bit of a sauna, a little bit of a steam, just to kind of wind down and recover. All of active recovery day, I haven't filmed any of my food because I've just been all over the shop this morning with the little one. Everything today is with the idea of high fat, high protein. After my swim, I went and put in a good 100 to 150 grams of carbs afterwards. Now, high fat, high protein all day. That's pretty it. It's very, very simple today. Tomorrow, Big Friday. Big Friday. Might as well just catch up with you here. It's Friday, obviously. We are now into the day. We're into the morning. It is currently 8:51. And for some reason that looks really on the piss. Either that or something that I've put up on the walls on the piss. It's a Friday check-in day. It's my busiest day of the week by far. I have all my online clients, my one-to-one clients that I work with across all the different platforms that I check in with. Just say, how you doing? How's your week been? What you been up to? Anything we need to action before we get into the weekend. Really simple stuff. I like to be in contact with my clients. There's a lot of people I know who say to me, you're absolutely crazy for speaking to all your clients unless they need anything. I don't care. I like to be involved. That's who I am. But the reason you're here is because I'm now about to film a TLM video for Instagram, and then I've got a mountain of programming to do. So Friday, that's why it's a mental day, because on Fridays I have all my programming for the next block for my clients as well that I do. A lot of people say do it different days and that kind of stuff, but I am somebody who can only really focus on it if I know that I've got to do the whole week, rather than, oh yeah, just do Mondays, and then when I get to Friday you can do Tuesdays and Thursdays or whatever, and I'm like, it just doesn't work. I need to get into the flow, I need to feel the rhythm, I need to do it. So right, I'm gonna film this video and crack on. Right, we got straight into the session. Today was pretty simple, working up to a nice heavy pause front squat with a slow eccentric. I ended up going up to about 130 kilos, I think it was. And then just went on to a clean EMOM-ish. So every 90 seconds, just one squat clean until it just felt awful. Finished at 115, I think it was. And then this 20-minute sweaty EMOM. Minute 1, 10 shoulder to overhead at 60. Minute 2, 16 dumbbell hang clean and press at 22.5. Then minute 3, 80 double unders, minute 4, recovery bike. And what quality angles. And that is the end of work for Friday. I've just had 6 chicken hex sausages and a handful of veg. Post-workout, it's not the best, but I must admit, you know, with training and nutrition, sometimes it is a case of choosing your battles, win the battles that you can win, and succumb to the things that are out of your control. And also, as well as just knowing your routines, that's really important, because a lot of people, myself included, when I get into this habit formation, changing things, being a little bit more structured, being a little bit more consistent, it almost feels a bit like the intensity rises, the importance of what you're doing rises even more. So you get into these routines, you're like, oh, I don't want to break it, it needs to be perfect, but it can't be. You know, perfection sometimes is the understanding that it isn't always like that. And I know, and I could change it, but right now I'm like, it's not causing enough friction. But I could change Fridays from how stressful they are at the moment, but I'm like, I just accept the fact that they're going to be a little bit chaotic. I just accept the fact that the main meal that I'm going to end up having is going to be right at the end of the day. The rest of the stuff's going to be a little bit fast. It's going to be a little bit more grab it and go kind of thing, and not too much of a thought process, because I'm just like, it's Friday. It's a busy day. It's one of the most important things for you guys and girls out there to remember. You know, a lot of you have been asking about habits and everything like that, but it's really, really important to remember that habits and creating a better routine for yourself is actually understanding, yes, you've got your basic things that you want to achieve and everything like that in said time frames and all the rest of it, or day to day, but generally you have to accept a little bit of chaos, because if you don't, you end up getting even more frustrated by your routine, because it's either win or lose, win or lose, win or lose. And there's a phrase that I always use that is basically pretty simple, which is, don't fail twice. So if you have a day where it doesn't work for you, just make sure that you damn do it the next day. It's very, very simple. You've got to give yourself a little bit of breathing space. So I'm going to round the video up here. Tomorrow, I'm thinking I might go actually for a wild swim, nice and easy. If not, it will be something sweaty at home. And if I don't do anything tomorrow, it will be something that I'll do on Sunday.
That's a general overview of what my training looks like at the moment. Elements of CrossFit, elements of bodybuilding. The bodybuilding elements, as I said, a lot more around compound strength and hypertrophy at the moment. I'm just really enjoying it and still putting a little bit of lifting in there as well for that explosive stuff, and then just getting a nice sweaty piece in every now and again. And then running, I'm just building it up quite a lot. I'm still buzzed with that 5k PB. I'm really enjoying my running, so I'm putting more and more in. And it's just a case of, with your calories, remember, fuel for the work required. It's pretty simple. If you're in a deficit, make sure that you're partitioning your carbs pre and post workout, because it's going to give you the best and most optimal performance. There is always going to be an element of hunger that comes with being in a deficit. There's no two ways about it. If you're trying to build muscle and you want to build muscle to begin with, don't go flying into a surplus, right? Because a lot of people don't deal with that mentally. Stay at maintenance, start working, make sure that you are practically failing on your last couple of reps, but move effectively. And then when it starts to really, really suck and grind to a halt, that's when you can nudge the calories. Just remember, I spoke about calories, nudging them by 100 to 150, either way, it's absolutely fine. So hold your horses, all right? If you enjoyed this video, give it a massive thumbs up. Do start the conversation below with comments if you want to. I will be back on the next one. And if there's anything else that you would like me to expand further upon from this video at all, literally just let me know. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.